have to be good at half guard passing because most avenues against high level people, when you're playing from body locks, will lead you into half guard chest to chest. And you must be a good pinner and passer and finisher from a top half guard position. And on the flip side of this coin, if my partner is in half guard and she's reaching towards me and she goes to punch an underhooks, for example, there's many different ways that we can do this. She goes to punch an underhooks, for example. I must be good now at going in and starting to flatten my partner out with body locks. Where now from here, when she goes to start working, I can put her flat on the floor. I can start working from here, and now we can start passing or pommeling legs inside, going back into my partner's legs, and using standard under over or double under or whatever different body lock variations we want from here, or I can start passing my partner. So you have to be able to change between body locks and half guard at the drop of a dime. You can go from half guard into body locks, and you go from body locks into half guard. You can't be, if you want to reach your full potential as a guard passer, you can't just be a body lock passer, and you can't just be a half guard passer, okay? Most of what we do in body locks, front body locks specifically, is going to be forcing half guard, all right? It's going to be very unlikely against the world's best guys that you lock a body lock and you just shoot right past their legs and pass them into side control or mounts. It can happen, and it happens a lot because most high-level people are terrible. But against the absolute best guys in the world, what's most of the time is going to happen is you're going to go from body lock to half guard. And then the responsibility is on you to say, okay, I flattened the guy in half guard. Now I have to actually pass a half guard. So you have to be good at pinning, keeping people pinned, and passing and finishing from half guard. All right, so sticking with this theme from the previous clips, a lot of people, when they're teaching body locking, they make a distinction between front body locks and side body locks. That's just not the case. You have to be able to use these interchangeably. Like some people will shoot to a side body lock. They get to a position where they're out past their partner's legs, and then their partner inverts a knee. They bring a knee back inside, and now they say, "Oh, I don't want anything to do with this. I feel like I'm in danger." And they disengage their hands, and they go back and they try to shoot past the legs again. There's no reason to unlock your hands. Even if your partner gets to a front body lock, front body lock, and brings the knees back inside, there's no reason to unlock your hands from here. You just keep working from a front body lock until you force half guard, or you convert it back to a side body lock. And conversely, if I flatten my partner out, like so, and she goes to forward shift me, there's no reason why I can't convert it back to a side body lock, and then I start working from here once again. So you have to be able to interchangeably use front and side body locks together with one another. You can't just do one or the other. I can't just be a player who will only engage if I can get outside the legs. There's going to be times where, number one, you can't get outside the legs, and two, where you do get outside the legs and you actually lock your hands, but your partner gets the knee back inside, and now you go right into a front body lock, and instead of disengaging and moving back the way and trying to get back outside your partner's legs again, you just work right from here. Or you have your hands locked, your partner goes to forward shift you and move you around. We move to a side body lock, and now we work from here. We start playing. Now let's say I go to step over my partner's knees, for example, and make a mistake. She goes to bring the knees to the chest, she goes back, and she forces me to a front body lock. That's fine. I just work from here, and I start playing a game where I continue to go into different passing sequences right from there. So you have to be able to play front and side body locks together, just as you play the previous moves together. You have to be able to chain all these together as these things are happening quickly. So let's look at the two main issues we associate with initially locking a body lock. Okay, because when I go to extend myself towards my partner's hips, there is some degree of overextension. So the question is, what issues am I going to face when I initially go in to lock my partner's hips, and what responses will this elicit from my partner? There are two main reasons why someone will get gun shy when they're trying to go in and lock body locks. The first is when I go in and I start overextending my partner just immediately, instead of just sitting here or falling straight down to her back, my partner immediately falling to a hip and going threatening sumigeshis and off-balancing me from one side to the other. And because I'm overextended, and a lot of times my hands are locked or almost locked, when she falls to a side, my hand gets trapped underneath my partner's body, or my partner has some kind of grip on my arm, so when I go to base out, my arm gets stuck, and now you go to lock a body lock, and next thing you know, you're getting launched with sumigeshi, and your bottom half guard, your bottom side control, your bottom mount, and it's just your legs are getting entered into, and you're like, okay, well, that sucks. I'm trying to body lock past my partner, but I'm just getting thrown across the room with sumigeshi. The second issue associated with this is that the second I go to actually lock my hands around my partner's hips, my partner just shoves my head to his side, and now she just goes over and she locks guillotine grips on me, whether it's arm in, high elbow, low elbow, whatever the case is. And now because my hands are locked around my partner's hips, I have no defensive hands. And if I unlock my hands from my partner's hips, now I have defensive hands, but when I finally clear the guillotine, now my partner brings their hands back inside and there's no body locks, and it's hard for me to go in and actually lock my hands and control my partner. In addition, even if I do clear the guillotine, like so, now I'm still overextended and there's no body lock and my weight's coming backwards, and now my partner can start to capitalize by taking overhooks or punching in underhooks or applying from here. Because I'm overextended, she can start to attack me as soon as I clear my head. So when I go in, I actually do lock my hands, my partner shoves my head to a guillotine, and I'm either one, worst case scenario, I'm getting submitted, or getting swept from this guillotine, or two, even as I go to clear my head, I go to look to start posting my partner's hips and clearing the head, and from here my partner starts to dig in underhooks or punch in overhooks and hit sumigeshis or do whatever she's going to do to start countering me from there. So you start to go in, you try to punch into body locks. My partner either one, threatens with sumigeshi and severely off balances me right from the beginning, or two, starts bringing my head from one side or the other and punching into guillotine grips, where now I start running into issues of, okay, if I keep my hands locked from here and progress forward, I'm going to get submitted and come right onto a submission. And if I do clear my head and I have to unlock my hands and really address this guillotine, my partner can start punching in underhooks or overhooks and going into counter offense. So if you start initially practicing body locks, you start running into these initial problems, and you say, well, this isn't worth it. You start getting gun shy. You say, this isn't worth it. If I go to extend myself towards my partner, and I overextend my hands, and I have no defensive hands, she's going to sweep me or submit me. And then you stop going for body locks altogether. So our question is, how can we get around this initial fear of overextending myself towards my partner when we're entering into front body locks and deal with these two issues, sumigeshis and guillotines? All right, so now let's look at a little general rule that we follow to avoid being put into guillotines and avoid sumigeshis. Whenever my partner tries to hit a sumigeshi off of my initial body lock attempt or shove my head to a guillotine, one thing has to happen. My head has to drift far off of my partner's center line. If my head stays aligned with my partner's center line, there are no guillotines and there are no sumigeshis. The center line, for those of you who don't know, is the line that draws my partner's body in half. So if my head stays on that line and my partner goes to off... Why are you laughing at this? I don't know what's happening. If my partner goes to off balance me with a sumigeshi, and my head drifts far off the center line, she'll be able to either sweep me or off balance me. If my partner goes to shove my head to a guillotine, and from here, she can achieve getting my head far out and over the center line, she can start threatening me from there. But if my head stays relatively close to my partner's center line, and she goes to off balance me with the sumigeshi, she can't do it. If she goes to off balance me in the opposite direction, she can't move my head, she can't hit sumigeshi, she can't off balance me. If she goes to punch me to a guillotine, if I recenter the head, she can't threaten me with the guillotine. So for me, what I'm looking to do is to keep my head as close to center as possible. Now, the most basic ways that we can do this is on two knees and having my partner go to off balance me to one side with the sumigeshi. And we just take our head across to the far shoulder. Okay? Now, you have to understand that there's some play here. I don't keep it right on the center line. If she goes to shove my head to one side, she'll be able to do it. So I have to compensate for her off balance by taking my head to the opposite side she's trying to go to. So if she tries to push my head to her right shoulder, I take my head slightly off center towards her left shoulder. Now the issue is, if I go so far over to the left shoulder, then she can off balance me in the opposite direction. So if she goes to sumigaeshi with a kalatai right, and I take my head all the way to the left shoulder, it completely negates her ability to sumigaeshi right. But now because I'm so far left, if she quickly switches collar ties, now she can push me to the other side. And now I'm severely off balance on one side. So while I gain a strong base of support on one side, I lose base of support on the other side. So my goal is to play a game where I keep my head as close to center as possible. My head will drift slightly from one shoulder to the other, but it will never go so far where my partner at any given moment can switch and off balance me to that side. So my partner goes to sumigaeshi right, my head moves to her left. When she goes to sumigaeshi to her left, my head moves to her right. But I never go so far over where if she makes a quick switch, now she can bring my forehead down to the floor and get my head off center and go into severe off balances. Okay? So we play a game where we recenter the head based on where my partner wants to take me. The same is true for guillotines. The second I see my partner go to shove my head to a side, I just take my head back to center. She goes to shove it to the other side, I take my head back to center. She goes to take my head to the other side, and from here, I take my head back to center. If I feel like my partner's rib cage is in the way, and I can't recenter my head, we can always circle the head down first and bring it back to center. If I feel like my ear is going too far past my partner's rib cage, I can't take my head back in the typical means, I can always circle my head down first by going chin to chest, bringing it back to center. She goes to shove it to the other side, and go back to center. She goes to go same side, and go back to center. She goes to the other side, and go back to center. You go back to center. So we always look to recenter our head and keep our head relatively on our partner's center line. Now there's more advanced ways of doing this. Let's say our partner goes to shove our head out to our right side and goes to hit sumigaeshi. And from here, I feel like, oh man, I can't just use